has passed, and you had an assignment. Your assignment was go into episode 2 of Echo with an open mind, and don't let your preconceived disinterest in the series soil any opportunities that the series may have to entertain and impress you. And we are here to determine whether or not that you were successful, whether you followed the syllabus.
Has Echo made the cut yet?
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Movie Men Podcast.
We are the B-Team.
That there is biscuits.
And that over there is gravy.
No, biscuits is a character
not the
in
nice
show.
kind of gravy either. That white kind. It's it's kind of good, but not as good.
Oh, white gravy's great. You could white gravy on some fried chicken. Oh, on a chicken fried steak with white gravy. What are you talking about?
It's got its moment. I'm not saying it's horrible. It's got its moments. It's got its place.
Okay. I mean, you wouldn't make a poutine with white gravy. Like I'm not crazy.
You wouldn't put a lot of things on white gravy on that you would put normal gravy on. Was that English? I'm not. I don't know. A little bit of a dyslexic moment there. A little bit of a dyslexic moment there. All right. So episode 2 of season 1 of Echo called Lowak. Yeah.
The episode kicks off in 1200
Alabama.
AD. Yeah, Alabama, 1200 AD. I will say, I thought that was weird. And I started doing some researching because I was like, okay, is Alabama
Are there
named
pyramids
after,
in Alabama?
Well, I was like, is this a different Alabama? Right? Like, is this like, Alabama is actually the name of an ancient, or an old whatever, and then Alabama was named after that, or it's a coincidence? I don't know. I don't think I couldn't find anything to prove that. I think this is just telling you geographically. I mean, these are like man-made hills. They're not like full-on structural pyramids. I don't think. No. I don't know. I didn't. Anyways, we get an old-fashioned game of cricket. It's essentially
Stickball.
Cricket. Yeah. And that was really interesting too. And then I paused it once again and went down a little bit of a rabbit hole looking up like
this is kind of similar to oh shoot. The name just slipped my mind. It's popular up here in Canada, and it's a Native
cricket.
American
Lacrosse.
game. Lacrosse, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I started, lacrosse is what I'm thinking of, not cricket. And so then I started looking up like the history of it, and I'm like, is it like 800 years old? Right? Yeah. Like, is this like a huge blunder in continuity? No, it's like 800 years old or older. I was like, okay, cool. And it's a very, I don't know, it's a fun scene, right? Like they're all, they've kind of got their uniforms on by virtue of the different colors of their face paint and body paint, and there's high stakes. This is a high stakes game. We just had the football Super Bowl. You think the Super Bowl is high stakes? This is like the loser leaves.
You get kicked out of the country.
You get kicked out of probably the community. But yeah, that was high stakes. It was a high stakes game, and the red team wins. Yeah, red team wins.
Go red team.
So go red. Red versus blue. And so I don't know. It's not made immediately clear what the significance of that is, except for the fact that it seems like that girl that we're sort of centered around, who's part of the red team, is one of Maya's ancestors, because she kind of has visions of this girl and the sort of quasi-naked cave people and all these other sort of figures pop into her head throughout sort of the rest of the episode. So again, just another little glimpse into sort of who Maya is and where her people come from. And then we get our opening title credit thing, which I don't think we didn't get in the first episode, did we? We didn't see this.
No, I don't think so.
It's very 007 in a lot of ways. Bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like the graphics and the spiraling and the faces going into the water and the it's just missing
bigger silhouettes, shadows or appendages that people are driving on or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just missing the silhouettes of naked women, and then it would be a 007 thing. So Maya is back at home, and she has an alarm. At first, it took me a second. It says door on it, because at first I'm like, "Oh shit, there's a fire
alarm."
And yeah, but no, this is her door alarm because she can't hear if someone's knocking at the door. She can't hear if someone's coming up the lane. And Biscuits is back, who I think is like her cousin, I guess.
Yeah,
and I gotta tell you, I think Biscuits is my favorite character in this show, right? Like, he's just this kind of like, he's a sweet guy who wants to be helpful and keep an eye on Maya, but also wants to try to keep her safe and is worried about, like,
he's just a very normal dude.
he's a grandmother fearing man, right? He's very, very afraid of the backlash that could come from, screwing up with his grandmother. And he's brought her a little care package. He's got some Pop-Tarts in there. He's got, it looks like cookies. Like, he's brought her some food and snacks and whatever. Because, again, he's looking after her. Maybe she sent him to go get those. I don't know, right? She's trying to lay low, doesn't want to be recognized in town.
Yeah. That was the impression we got from the last episode.
Yeah. And so she's there. She asks about using Biscuit's truck, and Biscuit is like,
if he's gone off-roading in it before.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, nah, like, I don't know, because it's a right-hand steer, and I'm not so good with it, and blah blah blah. So that would be a bad idea. And if anything happened to the truck, Grandma would kill me. And she's like, well, can I use it? And he's like, no, like, Grandma, is it? Well, he says, is this for something illegal? And she just pulls out a wad of cash, which means Biscuits can be bought. Biscuits is,
and he's not just at the bakery.
He's got a moral compass, but exactly. He's got a moral compass, but at the end of the day, a roll of bills is a roll of bills, right? And maybe he's maybe he's on hard times.
Gray.
Yeah, and so he goes to the pawn shop to pick up some goodies, and we see Maya's grandfather. That's who that is, right?
The
guy from the beginning of the first episode that's like telling all the old stories. And
I don't know. That's a good question.
What's interesting about it is we never see him and the grandmother together in this episode. But he's trying to sell some native artifacts to these white tourists, and and a moment that is so good and genuinely makes me laugh is he goes to like demonstrate how this artifact, summons the ancestors and whatever. And so he's down low to it and he's chanting and kind of mumble chanting so that they can't quite make out what he's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's like mumble chanting, but his chant is buy the damn thing, buy the damn thing, buy the damn thing.
And they don't pick up on it?
No, and it's so good. It's such a good scene. Funny line. And then Biscuits comes in, and they want to buy a Navajo rug, right? They're like, we're looking for that doesn't really quite fit our aesthetic. We're looking for something, a little more, I don't know, flashy and so he kind of tells them where they can go to get that, and kind of, it becomes almost not rude, but gets a little salty, right? If you're not going to buy this, then get the hell out. But Biscuits comes in, and Biscuits is a much better salesperson than Grandpa is. Because Biscuits starts like talking up the stuff that he's got and talking up Grandpa, and Grandpa's in behind using sign language saying, stop it, go away, shut up. And I don't know why, right? But it's a fun scene. It's a fun dynamic between the two of them. And Biscuits he's picking up some things. He's getting an angle grinder. He's got some tools he needs. Obviously, the shopping list that Maya has provided for him. And he needs cameras or a camera. And this is a really funny scene too, because he's got like a little digital like point and shoot in his hands. And Grandpa's like, if you're looking for a camera, I've got better cameras than that. And Biscuits is like, I don't need better. I need smaller. And so Grandpa gets out a GoPro. And he says, no, like smaller, tiny. And Grandpa gets out a GoPro Session. And he's like, no, like the tongue of a hummingbird. And Grandpa's like, the tongue of a hummingbird, okay? And he pulls out like an optic, like a splinter cell, like militaristic
a door camera.
Door
and have a look around.
Yeah. And Biscuit says that's perfect. And Grandpa doesn't question him. He makes a comment at Biscuit's expense, right? He just says like, "This is
what are you into?"
What's he say here? He grabs it, and he's got the optic wire. Yes, that's it. And Grandpa says, this militia type shit you're buying. Yeah. And so then we it's just kind of a meaningless scene where we see Grandma. They've got like a swap meet that they're putting together, and they're laying out the different
this
booths.
is a swap meet. This is like what do they call them? Powwow.
Right. Yes.
They're setting up for a powwow. You can tell by the blueprint on the table.
Yes.
There's a big circular tent in the center with a bunch of little tents on the outside. Yeah. They dance around that circular tent.
I know. I gapped the name, but they're putting a powwow together, and they'll be selling, their handmade crafts and goods and stuff, and so they're sort of laying out who's going to be at what table. Yeah. And this scene, the reason this scene exists is so that Grandma can discover that Maya's back in town.
Yeah,
and
there might be for some foreshadowing to a powwow in the future, but
there could be, something that we're gonna end up seeing. But so Grandma decides she's gonna go to the roller skating rink and do a little bit of a shakedown here, and get some information on why Maya's in town and what she wants, and the other cousin or friend or whatever he is like, you don't want to know what she's in town for, right? Like, it's nothing I can help her with. My understanding is she's just here. She's just passing through. And Grandma she's not wanting to see Maya. She just says like, I would encourage you, or I would ask that you encourage her to stick to her plan and just pass through.
Yeah.
Just passing through. Which of course is bullshit. And so Grandma, kind of gives him the stink eye and goes upon her way. And now it's nighttime, and Maya and Biscuits are off on their little nightly escapade. And Biscuits has no idea he doesn't know why they're there, right? He's just the dummy driver at this point. And Maya's got rappelling gear, and she's got all kinds of stuff with her. The stuff that Biscuits has picked up for her. And she's doing a little bit of what at first seems like a train heist. Right? She's going to you can hear the trains coming. She's obviously timed this out. And she's put an anchor point in the concrete of the bridge, and she's going to rappel off the side and jump onto this train. And she does so not so gracefully. Has a bit of a stumble.
I mean, this seems like something like, I feel like she hasn't been out to this bridge yet. And this is something she's doing where you'd want to pre-measure your ropes and everything.
Oh yeah.
If it's too long, then you're just going to smack into the trailer like as if you fell on it. And if it's too short, then you're just going to dangle there and right, like, so somehow she's estimated in a few seconds.
Well, maybe she has like
how long her rope needed to be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she has a little bit of like a belay system, right? Where she's like letting out.
Yeah, I guess. She could have a little. Yeah.
Yeah, but
sure.
Either way, she gets onto the train. This is a great sequence. right? She's the anytime you have your action hero on top of or running along or hanging off the side of a train, it's a great sequence. And it looks good. Like obviously it's CGI. Obviously there's some green screen and blue screen and whatever stuff happening here. But I will say that there are moments, especially I think back to the car chase from Hawkeye. There's a car chase scene where they're like shooting all the special arrows and doing all this stuff. It just looks like turds. Like it's just so bad. It's like this was the first pass of CGI and they accidentally released the wrong version onto Disney Plus. Like it just looks comically bad. Like it's just really bad. This, so far, I mean, the show is minimal on CGI so far. There's not a lot of CGI happening. But obviously there is in this train sequence, and the train sequence looks great. Like, I would say it looks on par with an MCU movie.
I wouldn't go that far. It's better than the Hawkeye sequences, but I wouldn't go with MCU movie quality.
No, you picked up on some...
Yeah, like there's some background stuff just as a trait. Like you don't notice it too much because you're focused on her and the car she's on, but some of the stuff in the background doesn't look great. Okay. And
all right.
There's a few... So, yeah, just nothing major. Like it still looks... It's passable, right?
Okay. So we see her...
It's nitpicky, but nothing I would hold against it.
Okay. So we see her doing some drilling into the train car, and then we don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't see her take anything. We don't really see what her end goal was, right?
When she's in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets in the car, she does a little looking around, and she definitely doesn't take anything.
She doesn't take anything that we see.
She opens a box. She kind of
sees the box. We're like, okay, well, the assumption is
she found what she's looking for.
Yeah, assumption is she's taking something, but we don't see what it is. We don't really see what the end goal was. And then when we pick back up with her, she's outside of the train now. She's ready for her escape. A little bit of a tense drama there where the tracker disconnects and Biscuits loses sight of her. Momentarily, but the big drama here is that Echo gets her prosthetic leg caught in the joining mechanism of two train cars. And I was watching this scene waiting for the bullshit to start, because I was like, we see this all the time in movies where like someone unhooks a train car and it's like, do you understand the force that would be involved in you like pulling that pin? Like it's not a thing. You can't do that. And so I was waiting to call BS. I was waiting to go, okay, all right. But they don't do that. What they do is they use this moment to introduce, hang on, there might be something a little extra to Echo. She starts seeing some visions of her ancestors, and then her hands start glowing. And she develops, I guess, what is superhuman strength is essentially what's happened here, right? Like she has the ability to push the spring in the other direction so that, because presumably there's a spring on either side of those mechanisms so they're not ramming into metal on metal. And she's able to push it in the other direction so that she can get her leg out. Now the leg is damaged as hell. Yeah. But she's able to do that, and this is clearly the first time she's experienced this, because she's looking at her glowing hands like, what in the hell is happening to me? And so she does that, and then escapes off the train very nearly, jumps kind of into the back of the truck, but overshoots the truck, and I guess grabs onto the back end of the truck.
To the tailgate.
To the tailgate, and a very that could have gone much very differently kind of maneuver. And yeah, so then, and that's kind of that's sort of what we see there. Then we see this train meet its destination at Fisk's shipping yard. And we don't know what we find out a little bit later that this shipment had a specific name. There's a specific name designation for this shipping, but we don't know what it is. We don't know what's being shipped. But it arrives at the warehouse, and the guys go and they open up the crate. And as they open the crate, they see this mechanism that is a vial that releases 2 different chemicals into the main clear chemical that's there, and it's a bomb, right? Yeah. There's a massive explosion, blows up the whole building.
There are explosives in the box that are ignited by the IED that she's put in the box.
Yes, and so that blows up, and clearly with the intention of sending a message, right? And this is where we kind of the roller skating guy. He's a bit of an enigma to me right now, because he still doesn't want. In the first episode, it seems like, okay, the guy's got maybe some shadiness to him.
He's got ties to Wilson Fisk.
Yes, but that's not exactly clear in the first episode. It's just that
I think it's clear enough.
Well, that he doesn't want the war coming to their town, and that he's got a coroner that will patch you up or make a body disappear.
Yeah, he's shady. His
shady.
Dude he's working for that's working for him knows about Maya and her the hit notice out on her.
Yes, but that could
they
just
go
be
to the water tower, and she points out she wants to make a hit on Fisk.
Yes.
And he points out, like, he knows who Wilson Fisk is. He runs a shady operation. He's got ties to Fisk.
Yeah, see,
Wilson Fisk is the king of the underworld. He owns everybody.
Well, yeah, but you could still, listen, if you were a part of a different criminal organization or part of a smaller outfit or whatever, you would still know who William Fisk is. And I would assume if William Fisk really wants someone dead, like, you put out a hit, and it's not just the people within your own organization that are, have their ear to the wire and are picking up on that hit. But regardless, either way, it's made a little more clear. It's sort of definitive in this one that he's got ties to Fisk.
Yeah,
but not necessarily. I wouldn't say he's in bed with Fisk though, because it sort of seems like
he's running a Fisk shipping warehouse.
Yeah,
on the tracks. He works for Fisk. I think it's pretty clear.
But hey, just shut up. Does it not seem like he is? I mean, I guess I know that everybody's afraid of Fisk, even the people that work for him. But it just kind of seems like maybe he's working for Fisk, but he doesn't necessarily want to be, or I don't get the ambitious feel from this guy. I don't get the, like, I'm a real player in this situation and we're happy to be doing business with Fisk, or I'm happy to be working for Fisk. Like, it makes it clear that in this that he is a part of Fisk's operation, or at least that, he's owned by Fisk. But I still don't think that this guy necessarily wants to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm picking up on something or not picking up on something, or I don't know. Anyways, Maya shows up at Grandpa's pawn shop and asks, can you fix my leg? And we get this cool, like, almost Tony Stark building something, except it's totally janky and MacGyver together kind of montage. Where Grandpa takes, like, the suspension spring out of the center of a bike and like builds a leg for her, and it's a temporary leg, he says, and she's like, well, yeah, no shit. He's like, don't go running off on that, and she's like, I'm not sure I can run on this. But he gets her mobile again at the very least, and Maya sees a figurine or a statue in the shop of the girl from the opening of the first episode, the one that kind of saves everyone from the collapsing cave. and then they all turn into humans. And she recognizes this statue as the girl that she's seeing in her visions. She asks Grandpa, "Who's that?" And Grandpa explains that, that is the person from that story I used to tell you when you were a child, and that your grandmother could, at one point, or can trace your roots back to them, right? That over the however many thousands of years, I guess, Grandma's done the 23andMe thing, and
you're related,
and is able to, or just, maybe a society with a better sense of traditions that is, has kept better track of that type of thing, has taken lineage and family trees and heritage as a little bit more of a sense of pride. And then our episode kind of culminates with, or have I already skipped past that part? No. So Biscuits is getting the truck put back together because there was a little bit of damage done. And the poor sucker's trying to sell his PlayStation for $100 so that he's got money to fix the truck. And instead of hopping on Facebook Marketplace, or instead of putting together a Kijiji ad, he's putting the call out over the CB radio. While listening to the CB radio is paramedic Bonnie. And she starts asking questions. Why are you selling your PlayStation? What happened to the truck? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, there was a little bit of I was distracted. I was driving. There's a little bit of trouble. And she's like, well, like what kind of trouble? And he's like, no, like everything. I'm okay. The truck's okay. Maya's okay. In a total blunder. And she's like, Maya's in town, like blah, blah, blah. And he just kind of ignores it. He says, "Oh, sorry, you're breaking up." And
radio static.
Yeah, rubs it on his shirt, and it sounds convincing. It's like it does a good job. And Maya starts getting text messages from Bonnie, of course, like, "Hey, you're in town. Like, what the hell? Why wouldn't you tell me?" And Maya ignores it. And the roller skating cousin friend, Shady, works for Fisk, wants to work for Fisk, doesn't want to work for Fisk, has a nice haircut, I don't know, shows up and is talking to Maya and is like, and she's like, "Look, like I told you I was going to do this. I asked you to be a part of it." And he's like, he's sort of broken recording at this point. He's like, I don't want this war. That's a New York problem. I don't want your problems coming here. You're going to bring the war here. It's going to be chaos. And she's like, "No, it's not chaos because I can stop it at any time. That's power, not chaos." And they have a little bit of a squabble. And this is my read on the situation, right? So he works for Fisk. But ultimately, his heart, his emotions, his allegiance is to Maya. So he's in this tough spot. And I also don't think that Maya knows that he's working with Fisk. Right?
Oh, come on. Really?
What?
You don't?
No.
Oh, dude.
No, not at all. There's been, based on what? There's been nothing to indicate. There's been nothing to indicate that she knows that. Really?
Why? How could she not?
Because why would she?
She was literally.
Listen, no. Stop. Why would she be on the water tower showing him her target, asking for help taking out her target, if she knew that target is the shipping yard that he runs, that's his business? She wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Because she knows that he knows the ins and outs of what's going on. If she gets him on board, she doesn't have to figure out which train to pack. She just asks him and he tells her.
Why would he torch his own business?
She doesn't even need to sneak on. She just walks on.
Right, but why would he torch his own business?
He controls who's at the station.
Well, why would he torch his own business?
That's why he's not helping her.
So why wouldn't he say that? He doesn't say that. He just says, "I don't want the war brought here." If you attack Fisk things, you are going to bring a war here. Not, Maya, I'm not going to torch my own whatever, or the boss is going to come after me.
This seems black and white to me. I don't see how you're missing it.
There's been no because you're making. Here's the thing. You might be right, but you have to acknowledge that you're presuming that she knows. There has been nothing that has actually. Nobody has had that discussion. He has not said at no point while he's talking to her does it ever come up. She would say, "How could you work for that asshole?" Or "Don't you want out?" Or
she offered that to him. That's what she was offering him at the water tower.
No, she was offering him to be a part of what she was doing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't say, "Don't you want to get out of your dealings with Fisk?"
Dude, he knows who Fisk is.
Of course, everybody does. Everybody in crime knows who he is. And he works for
Fisk because that's his,
right?
his Fisk shipping. He's in charge of that Fisk shipping station.
But I don't think she knows that. She's been gone for 20 years.
Totally knows that. She knows that because she's worked with Fisk closely for 20 years.
Right, but Fisk has probably got 400 different operations like that going on.
And she doesn't know about the one he's got going on in her hometown?
The things that Fisk has
she shows up in her hometown and she knows who to talk to about taking down Fisk's operation.
No.
The first person she shows up, the first person she goes to for help taking down Fisk's operation is him. And he doesn't know.
Friend. Because it's her friend. Because it's her contact. It's someone in town that she trusts. Why would she go to someone if she's hiding out? She doesn't want anyone to know she's there. Why would the one person she tells be someone who works for her enemy?
Because that person is a former friend and family.
Right. I don't think she knows. I think it's possible that she does, but you have to acknowledge that it is a presumption.
They don't have to say it outright, Brady, because they've shown us.
Okay, I don't think they have.
They totally have.
Think they have. Okay, well, we're allowed to disagree.
I think it's plainly written on the wall, and you're just not reading it.
Up until this point, you're saying she wouldn't know, she wouldn't be privy to the knowledge about the Fisk operation that her friend was running. Fisk's whole thing has been keeping things from people, has been lying to Maya, and has been keeping the pieces of knowledge in line, manipulating people by only telling them so much, manipulating people by not letting them know the things that Fisk thinks. If Fisk thought even slightly that he would make an enemy out of Maya or cause a problem by Maya finding out that her childhood friend or her cousin or whatever the hell he is under Fisk's thumb, then he wouldn't let her know that. He would make sure she didn't know that.
I'll double down on evidence.
Okay.
Who's her dad?
Who's Maya's dad?
Yeah.
He was part of the operation. He was the guy that was killed by Ronan.
Yeah. And who did he work for?
Kingpin?
And who did he work for before he moved to New York?
Kingpin?
And where was that?
In that town?
In that town.
How's that evidence? What does that have to do with this other guy?
How does she... Seriously? You're not connecting dots?
She knows that Kingpin... That's not news. She knows Kingpin... She knows that Kingpin has a shipping facility there. So she knows that Kingpin has influences in that town. But that doesn't mean... what I'm saying is...
If Kingpin's running a town... Nobody else is running operations in that town.
I've been the one here that has been like, I don't know, could be either way. I've said you could be right, but they just haven't flat out told us. So at this point, it is a presumption. We kind of have to presume that.
I don't think it's a presumption.
And you're like, no, you're wrong. You're an idiot.
I'm not saying. I'm saying it's not a presumption.
Okay.
I'm saying it's evident. That she knows that he works for Fisk.
It's a presumption based on evidence, but it has not been confirmed. It has not been flat out confirmed for us.
I disagree.
All right. All right. Well, you should rewatch the first two episodes then.
We'll move on. I disagree completely.
So that's the end of the episode.
I've watched the episodes, and that's the conclusion I came to.
That is I'm so glad I do the editing on the podcast. I'll just mute you. I'll just be like, oh, well,
Yeah, you're not going to do that.
Who's Brady arguing with? Episode 2 of Echo, a win or a fail for you, sir?
I don't know. I tried to go into this open-minded, but there were moments that this episode was fun, but overall, the train thing felt like that was the most actiony part of this episode, except with the exception of the opening game that the indigenous people were playing, and it felt slow. It felt, it didn't feel high stakes.
Okay.
I didn't. So I'd like. I mean,
it's only the second episode, right?
I'm still having trouble getting into this. I'm still having trouble enjoying it. Like that opening game thing felt. It looked fixed. Like they're actors, and they kind of, she's got to be able to do the things, but it felt fake. It didn't feel like they were playing the game. Like it felt like actors. It didn't feel like you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I mean, I know what you're saying. I don't know that I agree. Or I don't know that I picked up on that, but I get what your point is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm having a really hard time giving a crap about this character.
Okay. Well, maybe episode 3 will turn you around.
We'll see. So I think I'm going to have to rate this one as a fail, I think.
Fail?
Had some fun moments. Yeah. The two, they're like two big plot hole things I had trouble wrapping my head around in this were how she fixed the hole in the train car and the people didn't notice. Like there's a really quick scene where she's like holding the panel she cut out in place, and then she's like putting some kind of black goo on it from a aerosol can.
Right.
I don't know how that hides the hole in the floor from the inside, and how if somebody doesn't step on that, because it was in like the middle of the floor almost. How does that? I don't know. How does that hold somebody's body weight? Because somebody's stepping on that, taking that crate off. And if you want to do that, stepping on it, it's somebody with the lift jack rolling over it and it falling through the floor.
I know, but if you want to approach it like that, I mean, we can start going through Endgame with a fine-tooth comb.
You can find nitpicks, but I mean, in a short episode, 30 minutes. I've only got 30 minutes with this episode, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's a major part of this episode. Like her sneaking, she's being sneaky. She doesn't want people to know she's messed with something. So it's hard for me to wrap my head around that major thing. And the other thing was her getting her foot stuck. Now her getting her foot crushed. Her getting her foot crushed, okay. But it getting stuck, I don't know. That, like, there's a scene they set this up earlier in the, like, near the beginning of the train thing, where they actually jumps over the gap and you can see the thing moving back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? And so they kind of what's the word? The cinema word for
foreshadow
something up. They foreshadow that, right? But it's moving back and forth with like a regular pace. So how her foot gets stuck in there? It's like, why is it not just bouncing back like they foreshadow in the foreshadow shot? I don't know. That's more of a nitpicky thing, but still, like, if you're gonna make your foreshadow show that it doesn't just bounce back and forth, then anyway,
yeah,
those are my two other minor, well, not so minor nitpicks. But
okay,
what did you think?
I thought it was a win. I think it's a fun episode. I think there's some fun action in it with that train sequence. I'm excited to see. I think the best part of the series for me is twofold. It's one, the fact that we're getting what is so far a largely standalone story, right? That the MCU is telling us a story that, although it's taking place in the same world and we've seen a couple of familiar characters, it's not this big connective tissue. It's just a story that's allowed to stand on its own, and I like that. And I also like that the real action, the real tension, the real stakes in this show have come from the relationships, from the what's going on between the conflict between Maya and Bonnie, and the conflict between Maya and her grandmother, and the conflict between Maya and Biscuits wanting to be helpful but also kind of getting caught in the crossfire now, and the conflict between Maya and the guy that her friend that runs the train yard. Like, to me, the captivating, really gripping part of it is the relationship stuff, and the action scene, the train stuff. That's just kind of cannon fodder. That's just filler in between the stuff that's really great, which is the human relations and the emotions that are caught up in all of that. So that's, for me, I think what's making this series a big win for me so far. It's just real human connection in a way that, like, we don't get in some of the other Marvel shows. And a lot of the other Marvel shows, I would say, you don't necessarily get this level of human, just this human element, you know?
I could see some of that. I think that aspect of the show would sell better for me if she actually gave a damn about those people in her life. Like, she always,
that's the tricky thing,
right? She's coming into town and, like, not, a good example is, what's the cousin that drove the truck?
Biscuits.
Biscuit. Good example is Biscuit, right? She's dragging Biscuit into this thing. Biscuit is like a harmless, kind of not knowing better individual. And she's dragging him into something that's really dangerous and can get him killed. And not because he's driving a truck behind a train, but because Wilson Fisk will put a bullet in his head. And she doesn't care. She doesn't give a damn.
Get him killed. Right? Maybe it will get him killed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think this is all going to... I think what makes it interesting and suspenseful and tense is that this is all going to blow up in her face. So, yeah, it's cool.
Well,
anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all listed below. We have a Patreon page where, for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show and get some fun perks in return. And if you are currently naked and not wanting to be so, we have merch that you can buy and wear and sport and
put a shirt on that naked body.
Yeah, just a shirt. It's just that's fine.
If you get an extra large and you're small, then it'll cover your bits.
Yeah, this is a bottomless party. Yeah.